Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round 4 of the GPVWC Formula Challenge Championship here tonight at India for the first time ever on the career ladder. Tonight we've got Szymon Frelik on cameras and not Menno Klont, unfortunately, on commentary, but alongside me is Rodrigo Carvalho. Rodrigo, how are you looking forward to tonight?
Hello, Josh. Hello, everyone that is watching this broadcast. It'll be an interesting round, especially because it's the first time we have this track in the calendar in GPVWC. The drivers and most of the people is not used to this track, and it will be interesting because it's a different track. The first part of the track, you think, okay, we need to work with a low downforce because of the big straights that have the track. But then you pick a bit of the sector 2 and the sector 3 is a opposite thing, is a different track. So basically, I believe all the drivers focusing on mix setup between these two things to do not lose in any part of the track. But it'll be very fun, especially because since India is a hot country. We have now 36 degrees and 37 degrees in the track, so it'll be not a easy thing for these boys, Josh, and I can talk to you that.
Exactly, yeah. And you can look on the calendar there. We've got India today, Baku in 2 weeks' time, which is always a very interesting round. And then we go to Austria, which again, for a lot of these drivers, will be a new track. Last seen on the calendar in 2018, but it's made its return. And again, that always produced good racing. And with it being new to a lot of the drivers, should also be very good. And then as you look further through the calendar, we end in Brazil in October. But anyway, we've just started the qualifying session. We had practice topped by Fabian Roof for Team Frelik, and a lot of the other people on the top there, the people that you would expect: Faber, Danahan, Morris, Quinn, and then we've got Andrew Waring, finished P6 practice, stepping in at Valet Esports, unfortunately with a big grid penalty for his return, so he'll be starting at the back. But as we just watch now, Faber, believe the lead driver, so the first driver who will be starting his flying lap.
Yeah, about also the guy that's leading the practice, Fabian Ruiz. He was a very quick in China, but the conditions was a bit tough for him. Probably he not fit well with the raining conditions. He makes good results, but was not good enough for probably he expects to make in dry conditions. So it'll be very interesting today in a dry conditions what he can do it against the top guys in the league.
Yeah, definitely. I think another one to note actually from that is Darius Andre. Obviously, he is still leading the Drivers' Championship by 2 points to Isaac Morris, but he didn't really look too comfortable in China last time out. Maybe it was just the wet conditions or the track, but be hoping to improve his results this time out. He has been looking quick in the practice servers. Interestingly, I just noticed he actually got a slipstream from his teammate Jake Danahan, but didn't open DRS himself. So maybe he was maxing out his gears anyway. But see there, see Faber, first person to come through, so it will be a purple sector, but clattering the curbs. Like you said, this final sector is very tricky to get right. It's very easy to run wide, to hit a curb too much and get dragged off by that. So difficult. You see there, riding those curbs again. He's got Darius not too far behind him. And just looking at the fastest sectors at the moment, so Faber with the fastest sector 1, but Andre fastest sector 2 by quite some way. And yeah, I think Faber, just been told he cut the track on his lap there, so he's pulled into the pit lane. Won't be finishing that, so Darius Andre will be the first person to cross the line here, and obviously take the fastest lap at the moment. But Fabian Roof not looking too far behind him in the times. And Isaac Morris here comes home P2 at the moment, but big gap at the moment to Darius Andre.
Yeah, as we see it, is a very easy track to cut. So I believe, Josh, today the race will be big talk, especially for the people that starting in the middle of the grid in the back because of the dirty air also these cars have, and probably a lot of people you cut in the sector 2 and 3 in the race, I believe, because especially to make a quali lap in this track you need to go into the limit of this track, basically on the limit of the track, and it's not a easy task to do it, especially with a new track like that. And also, since it's a lot of degrees in the track, 37 degrees, the grip is more lower than before. In China, that is you can talk is a similar track to that. In the race we see in FC, Super Cup, and Super League Light, etc., have less temperature, so you have more grip to have in your car and make the lap. But with the conditions in India is totally different. So it's very interesting how the people make the setup of this car, fix the mechanical grip, and I can talk to you that Andre make a very good job with his team for now.
Exactly, yeah. As you say about the setups there, very interested to see what setups people end up with, as Jake Dennehan there actually takes provisional pole off his teammate there as Andre. Because like you say, the final sector with all the fast corners is very different to the first half of the track, where it's just basically a load of straights. So people may have set themselves up for a better quali, but that could leave them vulnerable in the race, because it is, I honestly haven't checked this, but I believe it's got to be one of the longest straights on the calendar, maybe apart from China. So yeah, if they set up their car to have very high downforce, that could leave them vulnerable in the races. As you just see. Sorry, Josh.
But the big problem on this track is, yeah, you can be vulnerable in the straights in the first sector, but the sector 2 and 3 at this track is the totally opposite. So if you have a car that have a low downforce and try to focus in the straights of this track to overtake, you'll be vulnerable in the other sectors because your car do not have the maybe, of course, do not have the grip that is necessary to handle quickly at corners. And maybe you can have a more tire wear than normally. And this car, especially this year's car, is way more fun to work. I think so. I have a team last year in Formula Challenge, and I test this mod. I think this mod is more fun to work, and probably if the teams make a lot of work in this car, probably they find a lot of solutions to deal with this big problem also, and make a very mix of these two things. And by the way, Faber P2, very nice lap, very near to Dennehan, and good to see Dennehan make a pole position. He have a lot of bad luck in the last round. He's a good boy, have a lot of talent, and I hope he can make a good result today in the race.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I say, so with everyone now, I believe completing their first run. Like I said about the practice session, it's all looking quite familiar in the top 10. Jake Dennehan on pole, Faber second at the moment, and Andre P3. And looking down the bottom of the top 10, you've got Mitchell, Scott Mitchell that is, Macho Sandat, Luke Mitchell, and Jack Nichols. And I believe all of them practice together, and yeah, you can see it working out there. See the Kings Racing team at the moment second in the standings, and to be honest, that's even with results around that position. They've been a very consistent team, and, whereas 2 sets off has been more kind of pure pace, and that's where they've got their points from. So it'll be very interesting to see if that same balance works the same way this round.
The Kings Racing, they racing in Super Cup last year for Row and GP, the two guys, Nichols and Mitchell. And a lot of people do not expect that they make a top season, but some people that have more knowledge about these guys thought that they probably can make a very good season at FC, and they show at the moment. So compared to other rounds that they have a car that was more probably a chance to make a pole. For now, they do not show that, but still 6 minutes. I believe Mitchell and and Nikos can show something special to us in a few minutes if they handle the people in the server and not destroy his lap. Especially, it's very easy to that happen in the sector 2 and 3 because it's a tall part of the track. And with lap from Eden Rainey and a purple sector 2, it's very interesting to see that.
Yeah, exactly. As Fabian Ruth there actually just takes provisional pole off Jake Dennehan there. Scott Mitchell crosses the line out, stays in P7. Just 2,000ths off his fastest lap, so quite consistent there. And yeah, speaking of consistency again with them, I believe they are the only team at the moment to have, well, say at the moment, they will be the only team until they stop it, to have scored in the points at every single race for both drivers. See, minding out Jack Nicholls' race 1 in China, where unfortunately he couldn't make it to the grid. So yeah, that's the consistency shown there, and that's why they are up there, and like I say, doing a much better job than maybe they did last year in Super Cup.
Yeah, especially Super Cup also is a bit tricky. This year people like more the car, and also it's very good mod to training. By the way, Dennehan is making a lap. Purple sector 1 probably have a help of his teammate, but sector 2 is a bit off. But let's see if he can make the improve his lap and go to the pole position or not. And 38.3 did not improve, but he still have time, 4 minutes to end the session. And nice lap at the Luke Mission in the top 10. All 4 team had 2 good drives this year. They also make good points. It's a very interesting thing to see it on the grid this year. And let's see also. I am very interested to see if Isaac Morris can improve his lap or not, because he's P6 at the moment, 4 tenths from the pole position. But Isaac Morris is a guy, especially because the experience he have, you just can believe something special from him. Let's see Mike Quinty if he can improve his lap, a purple section 1, and he don't improve, but it's interesting, Josh. You can see that the guys have a good sector 1 but not good sector 2, or at happen to have a good sector 2 but not a good sector 1. It's not easy track to make a lap. And let's see Faber now.
Exactly. So yeah, just looking at all the sectors, I believe the UI there may be lying a little bit. It's definitely not lying about that yellow middle sector though. I was just about to say no one improving so much, but Darius Andre, green sector 1 and purple sector 2. He is at the moment improving the most, but look, is that Faber right in front of him? It is. So maybe he's Faber again bailing out of his lap. See if he held Andre up a bit too much in the final sector there. So he's going to come across the line. Where will it put him? He does go provisional pole by 200ths to Fabian Ruth. And actually, I don't believe he's going to have time to make it all the way round to go out for another run. So that might be the time that he has to finish the session on, and it'll be up to the other drivers to try and beat him, which at the moment no one really seems to be improving too much.
Yeah, but that was a top lap, and to beat this lap, just make a 37. The only guy I see make a 37 in the practice was under Warring, that have a big penalty, so even with that probably Andre make the pole. Probably was to be a 37 if he not have problems with the dirty air in the sector 3, but he'd be very tall for these guys to beat this lap. Still 2 minutes, but I believe myself pole position is already set.
Yeah, well, be very interested to see if that is the case. Like I say, I believe everyone is just setting themselves up for a final lap. Some people just starting their laps now. Tom van der Voort, believe no, so he was only green in sector 1 there. Slightly down in sector 2, let's see if he can go up a couple of positions. Does move up 1 position into P12. Tom van der Voort getting his first podium Formula Challenge last time out after penalties post-race. So he'll be maybe looking to get up there again.
And also you see Guzowski, look at how the smoke comes for his tires. It's a sector that oh my goodness, he almost lose control based off his car, but nice save by him. But as I told you, it's a very very difficult, especially that sector, that corner is a very high speed corner, and if you have a car that focuses more on the straights, it's a bit tough to make that corner. You need to make a perfect apex. It's not all the time that these guys will make a perfect apex. So let's see what will happen. I'm very curious to see, especially the middle of the grid in this race. With the guys like Mas, Tom Parker, a very experienced one, Riboli that is racing today, Tomala, Keegan Platt, have a lot of good guys in this grid, and a lot of good guys in the middle of the grid that probably want to try to be more aggressive to make some points today.
Yeah, definitely. Just looking at the time, so Fabian Roof at the moment looks like he'll be the closest to beat Andre, but his set to 2 isn't the best. It's only 200ths off at the moment, and he does not improve his time. Actually, he has must have made an error in the final set to that. He lost a lot of time. As that is the session over, so we'll just see the drivers finish in the laps now. Tom van der Voort not move up a position, but Luke Mitchell, who was position in front, is improving. Here's Guillaume Mas down in 14th, which is a bit of a shame to see for him. He, given his results at the start of the season so far, he would expect to be a bit higher up. Let's see if he can do that. He does. He goes up a little bit to P10, but still perhaps a bit out of position for what he would be used to. As we see Adrian Faber here, again improving set to 1, but not so much with set to 2, and that's him into the wall. The final corner there, will he block? It's actually Dennehan, who has been improving himself. So if he can go up a position, he cannot, does not improve his time. So I believe at the moment it's looking like your prediction was right, with Darius Andre fastest at the moment, but Isaac Morris also improving in set to 1. No one able to quite match Andre's set to 1 time though, so like you say, it was a very very good lap from him.
Yes, and also probably right now Carter McCollum is very happy because 2 of his drivers in the top 3 in the quali. Very interesting race to TCS off, but as I talked to you, Morris maybe can be this guy. He can improve and maybe to be in the top 3, on the top 5. Let's see. Sector 2 was not that good, but depending the way he make the Sector 3, maybe you can see an improvement. Let's see if Isaac Morris can make that for Nova Finlandia. And looks like he improved, but not good enough. So P6 for him, but not a bad position for Morris. If he handled very well that, he can make a good race and maybe beat Andre on the championship, because both now is fighting. It's basically the fight for the championship for the moment. But the season is long and probably a lot of things can happen. For Mas, I believe I know that his practice was not the best one, but I think he's happy for making a top 10 because I think he expected a lot worse compared to before. But as you can see, the top 10, Andre on the pole position with a 38.0. Fabian Root, as I told you guys, a very interesting guy in second place. Danahan finished in the top 3. Adrian Faber, a very experienced driver in 4th position. Mike Quint also a very experienced one, make a good race in China in P5. Morris in P6. Mitchell and Nichols for Kings Racing P7, P8. Very very interesting also this team. Eden Rainey in P9 for FPS, and Mas finished in the top 10. A very interesting grid and a very looking to how you be, and Tomala P11, very interesting. Also, the 2 guys from Downforce, Sandak and Mitchell, make a decent quality. Van der Voort also at the podium looks like he's started to feeling better about the car. Riboli that have your team, but today racing for the academy. Very interesting the academy. P15, P16. Tom Parker, a bad quality for a guy like Tom Parker, especially because he was so good in Australia. And Gerald van der Weide and P18 for Deltec, and P19 Guzolski, Interesting, and Ben Willis finished the top 20. But Dylan Platt also expect more. Maybe he'd not have a good day on the quality today with the P21. Jeff Close for Valence, I think his first race for Jeff Close because of I think Moscato broke his pedal, so Jeff Goes needs to replace him. Stefan Schleider for Alpha Delta P23, a guy that I see a lot of times in academy races. He's a very experienced one. Sonveld, Sonveld had some problems again. And Morville in P25, Guillaume in P26. Guillaume, of course, we expect more from Guillaume, but we need to remember also, for people that don't know, if the first race Guillaume using a wheel, he always used a joypad, so he's still adapting with a wheel, and probably, of course, you're not for the first time that you make a top result, but we need to see Guillaume for the next rounds. Probably he'll be more used with this wheel, and be very interesting to see how he can make the races. Bruno Souza Ferreira, P27. Bruno needs to improve a bit. He had some problems also, some bad luck. Mike Bell, P28. Worrying, probably he did not try a poly lap because he was the only guy equipped and like Andre. But Andre Worry also have a big penalty, so probably he don't care because he knows that he'll race from the last place and also make the worst lap today. But also have 32, so Koivunen and Penny some problems, but hope she fixed that. Look with his team and see what is the problem for the 2 seconds of the pace.
Exactly, yeah. So looking at the grid there, maybe there's a few people out of position. Just want to touch a bit more on Guillaume Branton there in P26. Like you say, it is his first race on the wheel, and actually I think he would be quite happy just to make it on the grid today. I was trying to help him out with his wheel, setting it up, and if anyone else is in the Discord, probably noticed that with only about half an hour until practice, it looks like maybe he can even get it set up. So I think he's happy to at least be on the grid. And yeah, going from joypad to wheel, it will take time for him to adapt. So even if he is at the back today, or a bit more out of position to where he would expect to be, I'm sure he'll just take it as experience, and then in the next few races he should expect to get his pace back, because he is a very fast driver. And the more important thing with that as well is that on a joypad he always struggled with tyre wear, but moving to a wheel, that should help him there as well.
He have always a problem with the wheels because of the joypad. Because the joypad works in a different way. Besides, I worked with him. His first win was he made in Silverstone last year. Was very good, especially because it's a track that kills the tires, and he be able to defend the position to the end against Big and Fairclough and Hamilton, and we make a hell of work for that tires to survive from some laps at least. And probably all the time he was very frustrated because he knows he has the pace, but his tires can handle, and it's not because he's bad on the tire management, it's because the wheel is totally different, and it's difficult for him to be on the pace and be the people in front of him, also back of him, because they have a better tire to him after 5-6 laps. But I very exciting to see he improve with his wheel. He use it, starting to be the Guillaume Branton that everyone wants to see, especially his team, because his team believes that Guillaume can be a very important guy for the championship, but in Super Cup for next year, or maybe from SLL, depending on the way you do the movement from next year.
Exactly, yeah. One interesting thing actually to think about after that qualifying session is that obviously a few rounds in now, there's still a long way of the season to go, but we are starting to see the sorts of drivers that you can expect to see at the front of the grid, and maybe the ones that will be fighting for the championship. So just looking at Isaac Morris, I guess, in particular, obviously his qualifying maybe not as good as he has seen in the last few rounds, but maybe they're just looking to focus a bit more on the race pace and just be a bit more consistent, because that is the most important thing, really. No point winning a race if you're then going to crash out the next time. So Isaac Morris, just looking at his race pace as well at the moment in P2 in warm-up. Obviously, it doesn't necessarily give the best representation, but it's everyone will be doing the preparation for the race, so it gives us at least a bit of an idea. And Andrew Waring is at the moment leading the practice session, so starting at the back, but like you say, he does have a lot of pace, so wouldn't have shown that in quali because essentially there was no point for him. But it'll be interesting to see how far through the grid he can fight his way through, and whether he can get a good start position for race 2, see with the reverse grid.
Yeah, if Waring do not have problems in the first race, maybe we can see today Valley make the first win in GPVWC, and probably Riboli will be very happy to see that. He's a very good team boss. He cares a lot about his driver, so if Waring make that happen, it would be very, very good for Valley, especially because Valley at the moment is in the 6th place in the championship with 59 points. They had some problems during some races, especially with Faber, because Faber make a P4 in Australia in the race 1, a podium in Bahrain, also a pole position in Bahrain, but he have some problems with DNFs in the race 2 especially. So if Faber do not have problems in the race 2s, can still have his car on the track, and Waring makes a good race, a good race 1. Maybe pick even the pole from the race 2. Value Sports can improve a lot. I can tell you that, and they have the potential to make this happen.
Exactly, yeah, and you can expect to see if someone like Andrew Waring can get that reverse grid pole. Then we've seen it in the past quite often. Someone like that who is a bit out of position in race 1 gets the reverse grid pole. They normally look to just run away with the race and let the people behind battle. So like you say, that could be a really good opportunity for them to get some points. They're not too far off the top few teams, so they will be looking to improve on the championship position. As we just come to the last few minutes of this warm-up session now.
Yeah, I think have the potential, but needs to look what is the problem is Nova Finlandia, because basically now Nova Finlandia just is in the top 5 in 4th place in the championship because of that guy that is P1 the warm-up right now, Isaac Morris. And Isaac, he's a so good driver. He's a good boy also, and he's Welsh. He had some problems last year racing for the guy we make the broadcast, Josh Downard for Nova, and but also the car last year was not that realistic. Isaac, now we can see that with this car that have not that big issues that have last year, especially with the tires, the suspension, mechanical grip. And by the way, what happened with Dylan Platt with his engine? Make him make this thing from purpose or not? But we already talked that India is a very hot place, so depending the way that people put the blanking of the radiator can be a problem. I do not imagine that for FC, of course, but we can expect that from championships like Super League and Super League Lights, that the engine is more sensitive, but people need to be careful, especially with that. And maybe today, Josh, we can see some engines blow up. I hope that don't happen, but hopefully happen today.
Exactly, yeah, it could do. I noticed in the warm-up session a few people having some Nike engines, like you say, very hot today compared to what we've seen in the last 2 rounds. So yeah, hopefully, you'll see there Jake Dennehan, someone who was, I believe, setting up for a practice start. That's not ideal. I believe that was Tumala. His start practice has been a bit affected there.
A manky move by Dennehan, but I hope he don't make that from the race. I don't know why he makes that, if it was purpose or not, but he needs to be careful. And Dennehan is a quick driver, but he looks like sometimes he has some bad luck, maybe because of his racecraft, the way he races. So, but also we already, everyone of us know, Formula Challenge is it's a championship that have a lot of new people in the street racing, or people that have experience but still have a lot of weaknesses about racecraft and these things. So it'd be good if TSF can improve Danahan. I think they can make that. It's a top team. They racing in Super League Light, Super Cup. Is a very experienced team in this league. And Makoma also is a very good team boss. So I think for Andre and Danahan, that he's quick drivers, but still have problems to fix up. Is racing for TSF is the best thing they can have to improve. The cars can be the same, but the teams is not. So each team works in a way, and depending on the way the team work, can be very good for the driver also.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I think now we've just seen Mike Quint cross the line to finish his warm-up session. I think he's sort of the perfect driver to talk about when we talk about different experience levels. He's someone who has done sim racing for quite a while now, and in the last couple of seasons maybe dropped off a little bit. Start of this season as well was quite unlucky in his races, but he got podium last time out in China, and that really seems to have kind of spurred him on here. Now, he took P5, I believe it was, in qualifying, so maybe he's someone who can now kind of kickstart his season and look to make his way up the championship and potentially start battling with the front runners again.
Yeah, we need to remember also Quinta is an experienced driver. He raced also in higher championships here, like Super League Light. So he's a guy that we need to have an eye on him, and and he's also show how good is the grid is. Some people talk that the level of the grid this year is not high. Maybe it's because people be a bit used with the level of the grid last year. That was very, very tough. A lot of guys that racing FC that year, racing now in the Super League Lights and Super Cup, is fighting for a championship in Super Cup also, like McCauley, Stevens, Szymon, that's starting to make good results now in Super Cup, and also the people like Hemmingsen that was the champion last year. But this grid also is very good, and I see a lot of talents here that can be improved, and maybe in a few years we can see some names here in the top championship in GPVWC, that's Super League.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've got a lot of people here, like you say, that have had experience in the higher levels and have had it with varying levels of success, all coming down into a series with a lot of new people as well. But the drivers now head out onto formation lap. So Rodrigo, if you'd like to run us through the grid.
Of course, let's go. Round 4, GPVWC Indian Grand Prix. So pole position is the Romanian driver Darius Andre, with Fabian Ruiz in the P2. Top 3 is ended by Danahan and Faber on the P4. Mike Quint, P5 from Alpha Delta, and Isaac Morris for Nova Finland in P6. The two guys from Kings Racing, Mitchell and Nichols in P7, P8.
It's alright, I can run through the rest of it. So we had Adam Rainey there, P9 for Force Polonia, Guillermo Mas P10, Tumala P11, and Luke Mitchell P12 for Downforce. Then Tom Vandervoort P13 for Alpha Sierra, Riboli P14, and Walter De Bruyne, the GPV Academy teammate, in 15, with Tom Parker in P16, and Jared van der Weide P17, Pez Gazowski P18, Ben Willis P19, Dylan Pat P20. Then we've got Jeff Closer for Valent, Stefan Schreider, Heis Sonneveld, and Kevin Morville, P24. Then Guillaume Branton in P25, he'll be looking to make his way up the grid. Bruno Sousa Ferreira, P26, Mike Bell, P27, and Dan Halsall, P28. And then rounding out the grid, we've got Tommy Koivunen, Caitlin Penny, Maciej Sandak, and Andrew Waring. See, with his big penalty, he's actually going to be starting from the pit lane today.
I have a technical issue just because I love so much to talk in the starting information. But I hope in race 2 this thing fixed. But now is everything okay. Also, especially from this grid, I hope it be a very good race. Especially, I believe even with the pole from Andre, I think from the pole from top 8 it's possible to win. Especially because it will not be a easy race. Because this track different than others, have some parts to overtake, and I am very curious to see how will be the battle, especially from these three guys on the front, Andre, Ruud, and Danahan. Maybe Danahan will try to be more aggressive to defend also the position from Andre to help his team make more points. It'll be very interesting that I can talk that Fabian is in a bad situation right now because it's two guys from one team against just him. So let's see what Fabian can do in this situation.
Exactly, it'll be interesting to see as well with that massive straight after turn 3. Maybe starting on pole here might not actually be the best position for Darius Andre, but we'll just have to wait to find out. As everyone is now lined up on the grid. We've got Andrew Waring at the end of the pit lane, and the lights should be coming on any second now. See, as here they are: 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And we are away in India. It's a good start for Fabian Reeve, but not quite good enough to put alongside Andre there into turn 1. You have to go side by side, not quite. And there you go, Jake Danahan there up the inside into P2 already, exactly as you predicted. There's a lot of smoke and engines here, like I said, with the high temperatures. As everyone makes away quite cleanly there into turn 3. Fabian Reeve losing another place there to Mike Quint, who's made his way very well from P5 to P3. Got a few battles down the straight here. It's going to be very important to stay in the slipstream of everyone. Fabian Reeve makes his way now around Mike Quinn and Adrian Faber, battling the King's Racing there. Mike Quinn just about holding on to his position under braking. And now we head, like we said, into the back section of the track where overtaking is not going to be very easy. You're not going to want to go side by side through any of this section, otherwise you will probably lose a lot of time. But surprisingly close.
Was an interesting start because Fab and Ruud is starting very aggressive, but on the apex, then choose the better line and they could overtake it, and that was a problem for Ruud because on the outside, on the first corner, he'd be too vulnerable to the guys. Especially because I see that his car do not have so much top speed compared to some guys. I think it's the lowest top speed in the entire grid for today. So on the straight, probably Ruud will have some problems, but we can see now that on the corners he had not that problems. And look at Maz make an overtake move against Raining. Good for Maz. Usually he is very good on the races, and I see someone have a free screen. I think it was a Nova car, maybe Morris. Something happened with Morris, I think.
Yeah, we'll have to check with that. I did see a couple of positions moving about, but it seems to have sorted itself out now. As Adam Rainey there looks at the inside of Gilman Mass at the hairpin, make a bit of contact.
Almost ticket, but they have a downforce car in front of behind him, and looks like is Mitchell. And Mitchell looks like we try to make an aggressive move, a dive bomb on the inside. Let's see what these guys can do it, and so 3 wides on the track. A lot of people near to each other and must be overtaken, and that was a problem also because other people overtake him on the track.
Yeah, it's got Tom van der Voort there, just looked around the outside. Mass, he does look up the inside here into the left-hander. He's going to have to get in front into the chicane because you cannot go too wide there. As Tom van der Voort actually does try it at the next corner, but no, he has to back out of that one. Quite smart there. So yeah, not a great time for Mass there from trying to make a move to then lose in a couple. Not ideal, but down the grid it has been surprisingly clean. No big incidents yet. There's still actually a few cars with their engines smoking. They'll be making sure to be a bit easier on their engines so they can finish a race. And Andrew Waring from the back, from the pit lane, made his way up into P30 already. So he'll be having to look to pick off some drivers and, like I said, maybe try and make his way into the point.
Yeah, I'm very worried with his engines. A lot of engines is smoking, still smoking. Usually, normally you see the smoking on the start, but after 3 laps, is not a good thing, you know. I think today, Josh, some people you have a DNF because of a blow engine. They will need to change some things on the radiator because of that. Because if they not make that, the race 2 will be the same. But also you see with the mass how difficult it is. If you be overtaken in that part, the sector 2 is so difficult to overtake, and a lot of crashes can happen because of that. If people do not have patience and try to attack him in another way, the way they want. And you can see here, Ruth is blocking the way for Faber, but also have Morris near to them. So let's see Faber. He tried to make a move, aggressive move.
Oh, and they touch. I think so. Faber's made it through. Ruth lost out of position there to Isaac Morris. I think they both just sort of turned into each other. Like I said, it's a very difficult corner to go side by side in, and now we can see why. But Isaac Morris made up a free position really from that, which is good for him. And yeah, like you said, with the engines, it is not good to see smoking engines this far into the race. So yeah, unfortunately I do believe we will see some people having issues with that. They'll either have to back off massively to cool it down, or it might just go pop.
Especially because a lot of these cars have someone in front of him, so the dirty air also do not help these engines. But also what I can say, by the way, the fastest lap of the track by Andre, tremendous race by Andre for now. He is very quick, the quickest guy on the track. He's basically 2 seconds in front of his own teammate, Danahan, and he's dominating India for now. He's showing why he's leading this championship. He's a very good boy, this Romanian driver right now.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe doing a bit of a repeat at the moment of what he did in Australia, where he just dominated both of those races on track. Obviously, he lost his race to win there due to penalties, but at the moment, he's definitely kept as clean as Isaac Morris. Sends it up the inside of Faber there at the hairpin. Does make it through. There was a bit of contact as Isaac had a bit of a slide at the apex, but they have made it through. They've both survived that one. So Isaac Morris now making up positions. He will probably be seeing Darius pulling away, and he will not want that because see, they are very, very close in the championship at the moment. So Isaac will be looking at a charge on and get himself onto the podium.
Yeah, Isaac is on a mission today. He knows that he needs to start to push right now because he has now some clean air to work. In a few laps, probably he'll be near to Quint. And probably, I believe he's quick as Andre right now. And depending on the way the tires will be, maybe Isaac can make it a very good result today to do not be so off far compared to Andre. As Andre now is making a lot of points as he's making the fastest lap of the race and also winning the race.
As you say that, yeah, Isaac Morris takes that fastest lap often. So like you said, he is definitely on a mission. It won't be easy, even if he does kind of make his way further up the front. But obviously Jake Denhan, Andre's teammate, in between them two, and I'm sure he will not make it easy. As they just see actually the first proper spin really of the day. Unfortunately, Caitlin Penny, as I guess Fink might have just spun on her own. Yep, out of the final corner. Well, there was a little bit of contact, but mostly on her own. And she has now dropped back into 32nd place. But in general, it has been a very, very clean start. It's good to see.
And still a lot of engines blow up. I can see the Thunderdog and the Valence car with a lot of smoke in the engines. Bit of contact also, but I start to be afraid, Josh. I start to be very afraid looking back. Can these engines go huge in the end? And it's very. I believe for these guys it's very annoying. They see a lot of smoke come off of his engines. And by the way, battle from the P9 for now for Jack Nichols against Rainey. And Rainey really tried to make a move in that corner. He's a savage boy. He does not care if the corner is difficult or not. He just wants to put the car side by side and make a move. But he needs to remember also that this can be a problem for him, because if an incident happens, he can lose a lot of points right now, and maybe a chance to make a top race 2, because the P9 right now can be maybe a P2 for the race 2 if the reverse grid be P10.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, with the engine situation, I'm sure the drivers are even more worried about it than you are, because the last thing you want is to be having a good race and suddenly your engines go pop, because there's so much you can do about that. See now Andrew Waring battling into turn 1. He's made his way almost up into P26 off the start, so like we said, he'll be still fighting his way through, trying to get into the points. So
Ooh.
contact there. And he's round. And is that a Matrix Sandak hissing into him? Somehow everyone has kept all their wings, but not what he would have wanted. So Tom van der Voort now making the move on Guillaume Mas, who's dropped down to P12. See, after that a good start that we saw, he has sort of just been dropping down the order ever since. Maybe if you've got the same setup as Fabian Roof, you could expect being teammates. Maybe the top speed not helping him there, as well. It maybe isn't helping Fabian Roof either, because he also cannot make any move.
I believe they use in different ones, because I remember that Quali must have a bit more speed compared to Huit, and so maybe it's the difference from the setups by both. Probably must try to focus more on the speed and Huit more on the corners. And by the way, what happened with Raining? Oh my goodness, this is a problem. Probably Van der Voort and Mas now is a bit worried, because the guy basically disappears and appears again. The connection from other Raining looks like not the best for now. But by the way, 7 laps already, and Andre tremendous race, 3 seconds of more quick than his own teammate, and looks like a battle for Academy also. Looks like Riboli against De Bruyne, and Riboli do not pick the position right now, but he have a chance of DRS in the next one. And still some engines smoking, especially the Valence car by Jeff Close. He's smoking all the time. I looked at before. And also we have a Mitchell against Nichols. And Nichols picked the P8 from Mitchell, but let's see if he... Oh my goodness, either Rainey also try, and Mas against Van der Voort, a lot of battles right now. And Van der Voort.
Yeah, I think Tom there just maybe got into the AstroTurf, not getting a grip, and has ended up in the gravel there trying to rejoin. Not what you want to see, but I think Mas there, it was a bit of a dive, but I think he did keep it clean. So maybe just an error there from Tom van der Voort.
No, was a clean move by Mas, but Van der Voort, it's not easy, this move is, because he tried on the outside and he did not have that grip, and the track is a lot hot, and the AstroTurf in this track is a bit sensitive, so
just noticed, just got to stop, yeah, Guillaume Mas himself now has just gone off the final sector. Went off all on his own over a curb. Yeah, went for a half spin, was very lucky there not to hit the wall, but very close. So he's dropped away down out of the points into P16. So
maybe the hit Van der Voort did to him broken his suspension. So maybe Mas right now is driving without a good suspension. Probably the car is turning from one side. A pity from him and Van der Voort, but hope they fix these mistakes, and because they still have a lot of laps, they still can make something. And looks like Morris start the attack. So can Morris make the P3? Can he go outside line?
Like Quint there, not making it too difficult for him. See, Isaac with the DRS is always going to be difficult to hold off on a straight as long as that. But Isaac Morris still on a charge, so I'm sure Mike will be looking to just follow him through, really. So Adam Rainey there, was he made a mistake, allowed Luke Mitchell through? See, Adam himself trying to go for the move, and was a bit too ambitious there, so not ideal for him.
And by the way, Josh, I checked here, Isaac Morris right now with the slipstream plus the DRS, he came out with 268.3 kilometers per hour. So probably Morris he make a setup thinking about the mix of the straight line with the mechanical grip. It's a very interesting car, especially for race 2, because he have the speed, and he have a lot of speed there. So dealing with him on the straight line of DRS will not be easy. So that explains also how it was so easy to him to overtake Mike Quint and be on the front before the corner.
Exactly, yeah, and I suppose he's got the mix just right, because he's still able to get the actual lap time out of it. See, in qualifying, maybe it hindered him a tiny bit, but in the race here, still with the fastest lap, and now right on the back of Dennehan, already into the DRS. And just see, looking further down, Tom Parker there, making a move up the inside at turn 1 on Adam Rainey. They both go off the track there on the exit, and come back on, and Adam Rainey hits him, but just about keeps it in a straight line, and goes up the inside there into turn 3, and Tom Parker gets the switchback, Be interested to see who got the DRS out of that. Not too sure where the detection point is, but at the moment at least, Tom Parker has a position, and Adam Rainey does have the DRS. But now Dylan Platt is trying to get involved, still with that smoking engine. So looking a bit like the red arrows down the straight there. Let's go look around the outside of both of them here into the hairpin. Adam Rainey on the inside. Are they free wide? Make contact at the apex. Dylan Platt gets the switchback there on Tom Parker. Then two have actually had a lot of very good battles so far this season. It's now 2 miles behind, looking to go around Tom Parker, but no, he backs out of that one. So Adam Rainey, he's been in the wars a little bit, but he's somehow still held on to that P10.
My God, this boy is so aggressive. I have a heart attack when I see him make that move on the before the straight line, because I think both was to hit. But my goodness, he is very aggressive. He changed so quickly the movement, because he went so badly makes the overtake against Parker in that move. Was a bit risky, some contact, but he made it. He's still alive, but it's a tough boy we see here. He, especially from Dylan Platt, that is making a very good race, by the way. The quality was not that good, but the race was very good for now, P11. But if he wants to make a move against Rainey, he will need to be proud also, because this guy, he has guts to make movements like that.
Yeah, definitely. As we see here, Kozlowski and Close side by side into turn 1, and Kozlowski's made that move himself. So it looks like it's the two Thunderdogs actually, with very smoky engines. And here looks like we're going to go for round 2 down the back straight here. Dylan Platt now looking for the move on Adam Rainey. See if Adam is just as aggressive on his defense as he has been on offense. Obviously, he can't do too much down the straight itself. It'll be into his head. It's Adam again.
Oh my God.
Getting very lucky so far. He does look up to the inside. And again, there's a lag issue there. Still there, just about. They're side by side, going into this next corner. Dylan Platt with the inside line. And he does make the move. And Adam Rainey there, yeah, he does settle back in behind him. So Adam here with a few internet issues, it seems like. Not caused any issues so far. Oh, and he goes to spin himself. Again, gets on that AstroTurf, and yeah, it's very difficult to get any grip there. Lost a lot of positions. It's now dropped back down to P19. And now he has the other small power behind him. Been battling with Tom Parker for a while. Now he's got Mike Bell to deal with. But fortunately not battling for the points anymore. Still with internet issues.
I think the problem was not just the AstroTurf in this situation, Josh, because as we see it, Adam Rainey was appearing, disappearing, and looks like he's off of the race. Basically, his internet is totally off right now. I think when he go back, he was basically with Tom Parker, and looks like Parker have a lot of luck to not spin, but Rainey have the bad luck on that and his spin. And I told you about Morris. He's very quick now. He's near to Downard. Maybe Morris can make this move happen. He have a lot of laps to do it, and if Morris make a good quali lap, oh my goodness, look how Downard is aggressive to defend. But what the move by Morris, but it's still Downard in front of him because of AstroTurf. But Morris make a very, very interesting move and almost picked the position.
Yeah, it was a very impressive braking from Isaac really there, but he has to be careful because he has a bit of a slide there through the S's actually. But also he's got Quinton Faber very close behind him, so he can't afford to be too risky and lose those positions. Like we said, he has to think about the championship a little bit. If he can get past Denham, that would be good. It'll be even better for him not to lose the position. You see there, Guillaume Mas trying to make his fight back into the points, which he has done. See if he can make any more positions there. Obviously, anywhere between P10 and P15, you do have a chance of getting the reverse grid pole for race 2. So at the moment, he is in for a shot at that, which could help him turn his race or turn this round around for him.
Yes, and by the way, let's go back to the battle for the P2, because Daniel and Morris is very near to each other, and they. By the way, look at this big train. You guys here can see Faber, Quint, Morris, and Daniel, and also Faber wants to make some move because it's very, very near, but it's difficult because in front of him have Quint that have also DRS and the zip swing by Morris, and and looks like what will happen this time, because we know Morris have a very quick car on the straights, but
Yeah, but Mike Quint has been closing down the straight there. He goes for the dive into the hairpin, side by side at the apex. Quint does have him on the exit. Isaac's still there though. He's probably looking to defend this one. He does have better top speed there, going into the corner and is slightly ahead now. But Quint keeps it around the outside, and he's actually got him, but he runs slightly off track there over the curb. Oh, and they turn the chicane. Quint's round. They just about hold on to it though. He's done very well there to only lose one position out of that to Faber. But like we said, it is, well, as shown there, almost impossible to go side by side through the S's there. It's just not quite enough room, and the curbs are quite deadly. So, yeah, not quite worked out, but like I said, both still pointing the right way, still with all their bits intact. And Isaac Morris still on the podium. He will not be wanting to drop off that, especially with Andre so far in front in the lead.
It's a difficult move. South was wrong on that, because the corner is tall. It's not a large corner, it's a steep one, and both side by side. Oh my goodness, what happened with Morris? Oh, what happened with Morris? Oh,
Morris
God.
had an internet issue as well. Like Adam Rainey, he's also. Oh no, he's back. He's in. He's kept his position actually. So it's just been an issue our end. It's weird to see two people now with big internet issues. But he is at the moment still there, and now he's going to have to be defended from Faber down the straight, because Isaac does not have DRS this time. Jake Dennehan seems to just be too quick through the S's for Isaac to keep up with him. Faber is someone who has been known to do some quite aggressive moves, but he doesn't go for anything too silly there, and will just sit behind him for another lap.
It's a very pity for Isaac that happened. Is a bit of drama right now, because he knows that he has these issues and 2 laps to go. His internet now needs to be safe, for he try to fix that for the next race. But for now, he knows how difficult it is, especially because Faber is a very quick guy. But let's see what will happen now with that, because probably the podium is already fixed with that, because I don't believe with 2 laps to go, Morris will have a chance to overtake Quint. And by the way, we have a battle also for the P14, P13, P12. Basically, it's a big train, and Miles a lot of laps try to make a move against the academy car by Walton de Bryant. Probably because he knows that behind him have a quick guy right now, that is Ben Willis. Not Ben Willis, is Jeff Rose. Jeff Rose is a balance car. It's Jeff Rose, and looks like what will happen on that. And a lot of these guys is still smoking the engine, and looks like nothing happened. So looks like the engine in the end will not be an issue for them. And Jeff Rose, by the way, receive a penalty. So Jeff Rose have a penalty. What penalty have? A drive-through, drive-through penalty, a stop and go. What?
I believe it must be a drive-through penalty for if you cut too many corners here, you will be given a drive-through, and he's taken it straight away. Obviously, with only a couple of laps to go. As looking at the front though, we've got Faber now going for a move on Isaac. Oh, and he hits him. He hits the back of Isaac, who somehow has kept his rear wing. Faber keeps the position. He's just driving off after that one. Bit of a hit and run there. Isaac very lucky though to still be in this race. And again, only lost one position there to Mike Quint. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Faber as well, very lucky to keep his front wing from that. That was a very hard hit.
Yeah, but I have 100% that Faber will receive a penalty for that, because what the hell he was thinking and changed the so many movements in with the corner near hearing, and he forgot that he have a driver with him near to him that was Morris. An idiot move by Faber, and this inconsistency shows sometimes why he has some problems, and he does not make so many points that he deserves to make it. It's a thing that he needs to fix, and I hope he fixes. But it was not a smart move by Faber. Probably he will lost his podium, and Mike Quint will be a very happy guy right now.
Exactly. Someone else will be a very happy guy. Fabian Roof here. Obviously, he was looking like he'd just stay in P6, but now he's got Isaac Morris in front, potentially with some quite bad suspension damage. As we go on to the final lap, Fabian Roof is smelling another position. As Isaac, sliding it into the hairpin there. Clearly not so happy with the balance of his car now. So Fabian Roof will be looking to make this move. As ahead as well, Mike Quint does have the DRS on favour, but not quite close enough to do anything, doesn't seem like. Fabian Roof as well, it's going to have to be a big dive from him if he wants to make it, and he doesn't. He plays it quite smart there, just holds on to the position he's got. As looking further back, we've now got Dylan Platt, like you said, still smoking, somehow still in the race. Making a move on Tom Parker there down the straight, keeps him very close to the white line on the edge there to give him the kind of worst on into the corner, but Tom does stay there, slight lock up. And again, they're side by side out of the corner. These two having another great battle in this round. And it looks like Tom Parker is going to keep that position, stays in front into the S's, where, like I said, it'll be very difficult to make a move. As Darius Andre, he's going to be coming through to take the win here. Again, like we said, doing a bit of a same job that he did in Australia, with a light flag victory. And with a good old gap to his teammate behind him. 4.4 seconds. Darius Andre wins race 1 in India. Jake Dennehan comes home for a 1-2 for TCS off. Very good stuff from them. Faber P3, but potentially with a penalty looming over his head. Mike Quint P4, Isaac Morris, I'm sure he'll be happy just to finish there in P5, and he does take the fastest lap. And Fabian Roof P6, got Mitchell P7 and his teammate Jack Nichols P8 for Kings Racing. So again, another consistent round for them. Luke Mitchell P9, and Tom Parker does take the P10, as I think Dylan Platt must have had an issue there because Tumala comes home P11, Riboli P12 ahead of the other Academy car, Salto De Bruyne in P13, Kozowski P14, and then Ben Willis there for Alpha Sierra, I believe, taking his first points of the season in P15. As Guillermo Mas as well, he must have had an issue because he dropped out of the points, finished just P16. Andrew Waring, did a good job there to fight his way through the grid. Unfortunately, only P18, but he is still in a great position to be able to get some points potentially in race 2. And just 2 retirements from the race there, which is quite good to see. Adam Rainey, obviously, with internet issues, and Doan Halsall, who I believe just sort of retired with an incident of his own. And as well, looking there, Tommy Koivunen actually does set himself on fire over the line. So clearly his radius was set perfectly.
Yeah, so something happened in the end because that group of the mid-grid, as I talked to you, was a very, very big talk for that guys. And something, a big crash probably happened because a lot of guys lose positions like Maz and also Maz, for example, was a guy that I see that lost a lot of positions in that part. So something happened. And also, probably it's very annoying for some drivers to see this ball coming out, basically out the race, especially because this do not help the vision of the race. So I will. Well, let's see if they try to fix that for the next race or not. But it was a very good race for TSS off. They dominated today. Denham has a bit of luck because the guys behind him have some issues also. But Carter McCollum probably is a very happy guy right now because he sees that his 2 drivers make a P1, P2. Double podium for the race 2 is always good. TSS off showing be for right now the best thing in GPVWC Formula Challenge.
Exactly, yeah. Very good stuff. And we'll just have to wait and see for race 2 whether people do fix some of the issues they had. But for now, we're just going to go for a quick break before race 2.